Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here today to talk about the benefits of catnip. So I try to do a lot of these herb profiles, and I did talk about this several years ago, but I didn't go into as much depth as I'm going to go into today. And I love doing these herb profiles because every time that I do, I learn something more about an herb I already grow and use quite a bit. And then I find more ways to use it. So let's get into the benefits and how it can be used. So first, all aerial parts of the plant are edible and usable for medicinal purposes. So what that means is anything above the ground. So leaves, stems, and flowers. And I love that. But mostly what I do is I try to harvest a lot of the leaves, and I will harvest the flowers too, like I did this morning. I did harvest a bunch, and you can see in this picture here, this is what I got on my dehydrators right now. And dehydrating up a lot more catnip this year than usual, the more I've found the uses for it. So one thing is just to use it as a bug repellent. Now you can make a tea out of it. This is especially good for mosquitoes. So it's something you can use on yourself, whether it be you take some of the leaves and just rub them on your skin, but that would take a while. What would be best is to make an infusion out of the catnip and then put it in a spray bottle and just spray it all over your body, and it's going to be safe for anyone to use, and it's not going to hurt your pets, it's not going to hurt you and your kids or anything like that in using it externally. But I do have to say right off the bat, pregnant women should not be taking catnip internally because it can induce menstrual flow, which means it can also cause miscarriages. So stay away from it if you're pregnant, at least in taking it internally as a tea. Though I believe you might want to look into it for yourself, because I'm not licensed or certified in anything. I just compile information to share with you in hopes that you will do your own research on each thing. So if you are pregnant and would like to use it as a bug spray, do some research into it first. There are other herbs that work well for bug repellents like peppermint, garlic, and more. Of course, I don't know if you want to smell like garlic. So moving on to using it either in a dried and encapsulated form, a tea form, which is the most popular, which I've been doing a lot lately, or even tincturing it in some form, which I also do. Menstrual cramps, it's really good at helping to ease the menstrual cramps. One of the top things it's good for is that it is a mild sedative, which can not only help promote and give you good sleep, it also is excellent for helping you to deal with anxiety and stress because it's very calming. I love catnip for that, and with this year being as stressful as it's been, good stress, like I keep saying, it's good stuff with weddings and so on, but I still turning to the catnip mixed with mojito mint and making some teas out of it have been something I've been doing at least every other night, and I've been finding it to be very helpful. It's a diaphoretic, and what that means is it induces perspiration. So you might think that sounds like a bad thing, but it's not. So if you have a fever, this is something you got to understand. When you have a fever has its purpose, and we should not be trying to reduce a fever unless obviously it gets too high. There is a certain point where it can be too high and have some detrimental effects, but in most cases, allowing a fever to run its course, it helps the body to fight, to kill off, and eliminate whatever it is that's in there. So when you take catnip and it induces sweat, anytime you can sweat, what's going to happen is it's going to push out toxins and other things that are in the body that you need to get rid of. That's why it's a beneficial thing to sweat. So if you're not feeling good and you feel like you just need to detoxify, take some catnip tea and it'll help you sweat that out. And it also does not raise the body temperature. It helps you sweat without raising your body temperature. So if you're one of those ladies like me who's still in that phase where you're having hot flashes from time to time, you don't want to be raising your body temperature. Now, used as an inhalant, which again, you would make a tea out of it, but instead of drinking the tea, which you could still do, you would do one of those things where you put the towel over your head and over the pan or pot that you have, and then just breathe it in. It's really helpful at easing coughs, sore throats, and relieving congestion in the chest, in the sinuses, or wherever it is. And it's also good for asthma and croup. This would have been nice to know when my second son was born. I mean, he only had to deal with that once, but it was a scary time. Knowing what I know now, if, let's say, my grandbaby got croupy and he was starting to turn blue because he wasn't getting enough oxygen, I know that I could let him inhale some of this and it would be beneficial at helping him to clear out the congestion. But you also have to realize that, you know, babies, I'm always very careful about any kind of herbal remedies for babies in particular, but children, you can give them catnip tea, you just don't want to give it to them as much or as often. You have to just keep it more on the, only use it when absolutely necessary. So externally, this one I didn't know, and it surprised me because I grow a lot of skin benefiting herbs, whether it be skin healing or skin conditioning or promoting just general good skin health. Catnip is good for healing wounds and burns and so on. It is actually an antiseptic, and I didn't know that. That was a total new one to me. And also great for insect bites. So not only can it help prevent you from getting bitten from insects, especially mosquitoes, it can also help heal those insect bites. And it's also said to help aid in weight loss. So there's another great benefit right there. And it is an anti-inflammatory. Now here are some of the constituents of catnip that give it the properties that are good for these various things, and that are the tannins, the antioxidants, the flavonoids, vitamin C, E, chromium, iron, manganese, potassium, selenium, and cobalt. How cool is that? So that's just some of the constituents there. Now, let me talk a little bit more about how I use catnip, and I'll link you back to a couple of videos. So again, with the catnip tea, that's the one I've been using it mostly for, in conjunction with the mojito mint, because the mojito mint is it's a nice mild mint. Normally I love peppermint, but peppermint can be more stimulating, and I'm wanting to be more calm, and the combination of the catnip with the mojito mint makes a very nice flavor, so it makes it more enjoyable to drink. Catnip tea on its own is not bad. Some people really like it, but I prefer having that little bit of mint flavor in there, so I use about a 50-50 blend, or 1 part to 1 part blend, when I'm making my tea. And then how I've used it all the time, every year when it's coming in fresh, if I have any kind of aches or pains, I'll just come out and pick a sprig of the catnip and a leaf or two of the feverfew and eat them together. Now the feverfew is really the main painkiller, but the catnip with its mild sedative properties also just makes it easier to deal with whatever pain, especially if you have a headache that's caused from stress. That's going to help calm you down and just ease that stress, and then the feverfew is going to help knock out the pain. And I've even used it in the pain remedies that I make for my dog. And I have a video on that. It's kind of an old video, but I'll go ahead and link to it down below on how I make that in conjunction with some other herbs, and it works really great. I've only had to give it to him a couple of times, but him and his sister get playing so hard, and she's much bigger than he is. And he has on a few different occasions sprained a leg and been limping around, and you could tell he's in a lot of pain, so I'd give him this, and within 20 minutes he was back playing with his sister again. So that was pretty cool. So those are the main ways I've used it, but knowing what I've learned just doing this most recent research, there go my chickens, laying eggs, or just got done laying an egg anyway, and wants to tell you all about it. But now that I know what I know, I'll be using it more, probably just using it a lot more in tea, so that's why I've got a lot more going on the dehydrator today. Anyway, if you're interested in more herb profiles, I do have quite a few out already, though I have a lot more still to do. I've been doing this for 5 years, and so in the 5 years I've been able to cover a few here and there. I'm hoping to get a few more done this summer at least. I like to do them in the summer so I can shoot them outside. Anyway, be watching for those, and go ahead and check the playlist I'll put down below for the ones that are already out. Once you click on that playlist, you'll see the list of videos, and that way you can go to each individual one instead of having to skip through or watch all these other videos to get to the one you're interested in, and find, you know, whatever it is, whether it be about nasturtiums, dandelion, calendula, anything that I already have a video out, and there's quite a few. And you can look into that, and through the years I always learn more, even since some of my early videos on some of these herbs. Oh, and by the way, before I close this out, there's much confusion between catnip and catmint. Most places I've ever looked all say catnip and catmint is the same, but once in a rare occasion I'll come across something that will say no, they're different. True catnip has white flowers where catmint has purple flowers, but then I've seen places that sell catnip and it's all purple flowers. In fact, the one I got from a friend, one of my first plants is purple flowers. All my catnip is purple flowers. And she told me it was catnip. And then I went to a nursery and was looking at the different herbs that they had and seeing catnip and catmint. Both had purple flowers. They looked exactly the same. So do some deep research on that. But what I am going to guess is that even if they are basically different varieties of this particular mint, because that's what it is a type of mint, they should still have virtually the same properties. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.